changed our hair.
I know, it's the season for it.
Yeah, time for a change. So,
Totally season. So
yeah.
today, yeah, we're going to be talking about friendship breakups.
Yes. So breakups in all aspects, I would say, right? So it could be like friendships, it could be our regular relationships with our partners, or um, it could just be like a new start, a new beginning to a new chapter for yourself. It's kind of like losing the old and in with the new, and just different avenues. So, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I loved
Yeah.
how we're going to get in touch with, like, you mentioned the spiritual side, right? Like, what could it mean, or the spiritual growth with it?
Right. Yeah. So, as life goes on, it's always a journey. Life is always a journey, and sometimes you get kind of caught up and stuck in the why is this happening to me? Or, we were close at one point, and why are we not friends anymore? Why are we not in a relationship anymore? And then it just turns
Yeah.
into a lot of spiraling and thinking, what did I do wrong? And as I started to grow more and I got more spiritual, but just understood a little bit more, I felt
Uh-huh.
like, or I've learned, not felt, but I've learned that it's all supposed to happen for our spiritual growth. So we're always in alignment for what our next stage in life is supposed to be. And that means when people come into our lives, they're meant to be in our lives for that particular reasoning. For that, if we're
Yeah.
supposed to learn from them in some way, or learn about ourselves in some way. And sometimes it lasts and sometimes it doesn't. And it's hard when it doesn't. But when it doesn't, instead of, you have your moments of feeling awful and, the loss of something. However,
Yeah.
you learn from it and you go, okay, well, this was kind of like a mirror to myself. And what is it that I want in the future, or what is it that I'm looking for in a friend, or where is this path leading me to the next stage of my life, so I can attract those like-minded people, so I can continue growing and not being held back. So that's kind of my take on it. What do you think?
Yeah, no, it's so funny that we are doing this topic because these last couple of days, a friend, we're not friends anymore, but she's been popping up so much,
Hmm.
and she's been popping up in my dreams too. And I literally was just talking to a coworker about it. Like, I wonder what that could mean. Like, I wonder if it's like I miss her. I wonder if there's like unresolved feelings on my side, or is it
Hmm.
time for me to go inward more about the friendship?
Yeah.
Um, but it's so true. Like, I do think that friendship breakups, first of all, is like something that is really, really real, and I don't think we talk about it enough. I think we talk so much about partner breakups with
Hmm.
boyfriend, girlfriend, with those partners, but we never
Hmm.
talk about, like, the friendships, or even like family breakups, right? When you
Yeah.
have to start setting your boundaries, and
Yeah.
now you're going no communication with like your mom or dad, and I
Yes.
think like that pain is very, very real as well.
Hmm.
With this relationship that, I had a really good friend, and we were like sisters and everything. And it's like those type of friendships, it's like, or those breakups sometimes hurt way more than a partner breakup, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh, those are the
Yeah.
things that, like, we don't talk about enough. So I totally
Hmm.
agree with you. And I think even in those spaces too, it is a lot of reflection. It is a lot of like,
Yeah.
okay, where am I at with this? Like, what am I feeling? And to even grieve it, right? Because I think sometimes we can give space for like intimate relationships to grieve, but
Yeah.
not necessarily like friendship breakups, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I always wanted to find ways to be a better friend, you know? So if for some reason something didn't work out in a friendship, I don't always want to just say like, "Oh, well, this person did this and this and this." It's
Yeah.
I'm trying really hard to kind of take a step back and go, "Well, what did I do?" Or
Yeah.
not what did I do, but how did I contribute to this?
Yeah.
And it could be for like it just fizzled away or just something. But how did I contribute to this? Something that again I'm teaching my kids and is I think I've mentioned this on one of the videos before, but like who's in charge of you, right? You
Yeah.
can't control other people, but you can control yourself. And so I have been completely like guilty of just allowing time to pass and allowing things to just kind of whatever, get caught up in my own world and not be aware of other people
Yeah.
as much as I probably could be, and keeping up with people and checking in. And I can't just put it on somebody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's
And
a really
I
good
don't,
way to go
yeah.
through like those breakups too, is to ask yourself, okay, like what was my part in it? You
Yeah.
know, like, because I know when, when I've had friendship breakups, this one really hit. And again, I think it's because we were like sisters,
Mhm.
where like I really wanted to point fingers.
Yeah.
And then again, it's like, okay, hold on. Like, one, there's always two sides of the story, right? Like, yes, I
Mhm.
can point fingers, and that could be part of it. But then also there's that part of like, hey, what did I do in this friendship that also made us maybe grow apart, or made us like not want to be together anymore, or whatever it is, right? But
Yeah.
to lead to not being friends anymore. So I think there's like a lot of accountability that comes into place. Because I
Right.
think
Which
like, I
growth.
think, yeah, I wanted to say, like, I think now in our generation, and maybe it's something too, maybe when I was younger, where it's very much fuck them. Like, it's a lot about, like, it's about me. Like, I make new friends, or like, fuck them, or like, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I see the perspective, but it's not taking accountability either. Or
Yeah.
it's not like, it's very rough and very rigid and very like closed off.
We're so quick to point fingers, I think, at other people and not take accountability for our own actions.
Yeah.
And I don't think that we necessarily have done something really wrong. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes just things happen, and
Yeah.
there could be a miscommunication, there could be a disconnect in some way, and then you just go, okay, well, I could have been better at communicating this way, right? Instead of
Yeah.
this way. Maybe I was being too stubborn.
Definitely.
Like, sometimes I get stubborn and I'm like, oh, it's my way and I'm not gonna la 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 la. I don't want to hear anybody else's opinions. It's my way. We kind of
Yeah.
get stuck in that. So spiritually, I feel like this breaking up with somebody or like disconnecting with somebody is it's actually positive, because, well, it's
Yeah.
obviously
It
sad,
could
but
be.
it's a way
Yeah.
to grow and go, okay, how do I how do I, for one, maybe pick better next time, or like, pick a better friend that maybe is in my alignment of where I'm at right now. But then
Yeah.
how do I communicate better, or how, maybe I could be a little bit less stubborn and be more like, listen to somebody else's thoughts and maybe connect better. I don't know,
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, 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 definitely. Yeah. Like when you're reflective, right? Like a lot of
Yeah,
those things are gonna
reflective,
pop
that's a
up.
good word.
Yeah,
Yes.
but it's like, it's true. It's like a lot of those things are gonna pop up. Like one of the
Yeah.
things that I've noticed, for me, when I was like in that space of reflection, is, oh, like I didn't communicate my feelings openly, right?
Mhm.
And then in turn, I was passive aggressive. Like obviously that's unhealthy, right? So it's like,
Mhm.
okay, like how can I learn, and not just for friendships, just in general, for like partners or myself, or like family friendships, like how can I be more open towards myself, so I can be open externally when I am angry, or when I am upset, or when something's triggering me,
Right.
right? And I think for me too, it was also like boundaries. Like I lack boundaries. So it's like, oh, like I can see how I lacked boundaries and I kept saying yes. So it's like, it's very good to reflect and see whatever arises. And I also think like what you were saying, like I think with just people that we meet in our lives, at a certain point, it's like we no longer serve each other on our path.
Mhm.
Like we came here, I kind of see it as like, like when before we come into this world, we sign like contracts as to like what we're gonna learn,
Yeah.
right? So it's okay, we signed our contract is officially over.
Yeah.
Like we no longer serve each other for the
Mhm.
highest good,
Right.
right? So I know
Yeah.
for me, like in this friendship that I went through, it's again, like it's so interesting because I think I'm still processing a lot of it. Like I think a lot of
Yeah.
stuff I'm still like reflecting, and it still feels very fresh. And it's been maybe like 2 years, but it still feels very fresh.
Mhm.
It's like, oh, like it's giving me a whole other lesson of like how to be alone, right?
Mhm.
Like I learned a lot of how my codependency was present. And I want to say it was like for
Yeah.
both of us, but I guess I can't speak for like that friendship or that friend.
Mhm.
But it's like, oh yeah, like there was a lot of that when we officially went our separate ways. And luckily we had a really good conversation. Or not good, but we just had a conversation of us going our separate ways. afterwards there was a lot of, oh, like I still have the codependent energy. Like I only thought that was with intimate relationships. I only thought that was like with a boyfriend or a girlfriend. And it's like, oh no, like that also happens in friendships, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, and, being able to take a step back and, like, analyze it and figure it out, we could say that because, well, I mean, you're not really in it anymore because you said it was, like, 2 years ago, but it still bothers you. I mean, you still think about it and it still is there, and, it's very real, and it sucks, it's sad. But I would suggest for everybody though, when something negative not negative, this is not a negative thing, but like when something
Mhm.
like that happens that feels yucky inside, when you lose somebody, a deep connection with somebody, allowing yourself that grieving time because
Definitely.
it's okay. It's okay. Like, it's okay
Yeah.
to grieve. It's okay to be sad. And you could be like, well, I know I should really be thinking about how this helped me or how this is going to help me later on. But it's hard to think
Yeah.
like that when you're in it. And
Yeah.
so allowing yourself that time to grieve over it
Yeah.
and being able to go, you know what? It's hard for me to see why this is happening. 'Cause it's hard. Sometimes
Yeah.
you're just like, "What the hell?" Like, I thought everything was good, or maybe things weren't good, but you just thought you're always gonna be with this person or be connected with
Yeah.
this person. But just remembering that, um, you'll see eventually why this happened. It'll take time. Sometimes it could take a couple years.
Yep.
Then you'll eventually
Sure.
reflect back and go, "Oh my gosh, where I am now I see how that person was actually supposed to be in my life at that time to help me progress to where I'm at this moment."
Oh yeah.
And,
That's
so
actually,
yeah.
yeah, I was gonna say, like, that's what happened too for me where
Mhm.
the same week that my friend and I went our separate ways, the boyfriend that I have now, we also broke up. And if anything, like the end of the week, I remember going into therapy session and it actually led up into my abandonment wound.
Mm,
Like so it's like, oh, like I've said this before where it's like, oh, if that friendship was here to teach me, or if that friendship was here to like make me feel safe, to make me feel like all these things of a friendship, and then to walk away for me to go into that feeling, then like, wow, what a beautiful gift. Like,
yeah,
yes, the grief might still be there or the whatever it is, but it's like, what a beautiful gift that it led me to like a bigger purpose or a bigger, like healing space of my life.
yeah,
So it happens, but I also think that it takes a lot of like reflection, because it's like we want to be angry about it, we want to point fingers, and it takes a lot of energy, a lot of kind of like working through it to be like, okay, like yes, I'm angry, but at the same time, yes, I'm also very sad, and
mhm,
like I'm very like hurt.
mhm,
It feels easier
yeah,
to be angry than to feel pain or to feel hurt.
and remembering too that, like, I don't know if I've said this before, we've said this before in the past, but, um, we, meaning us, all of us humans, we tend to, um, think that something's happening to us. It's like, "Why is this happening to me?" Right? Like,
Yeah.
"Why is this happening to me?" Whenever I do my manifestations and I do quite a bit very daily.
Mhm.
Um,
That's awesome.
I do a lot of affirmation manifestations, but I do tangible manifestations all the time to create
Uh-huh.
my everything I ever want, the life that I live. Everything has all been manifested. Everything that you
Mhm.
say, everything that you do, it comes back and around. And so I'm always careful with what I say and whatever I put out. But
Yeah.
whatever I always say or whatever I'm always looking for, helping people or helping myself, I always add in there for my highest good
Yeah.
because the universe only wants the best for us. There is nothing that is ever being done to us to hurt us or to punish us, and we tend to go into that kind of mindset, like that victim mindset. Why is this happening to me?
Mhm.
Why, poor
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
But knowing that this is all being done for our highest good, for our greatest and highest good. And that's what I say. Whatever it is that I want, whatever I'm trying to put out there, I always add in the very end, for my highest good.
Yep.
Because I
Yeah.
only want for my highest good. Because if it's not supposed to be for my highest good, then I don't want it to. It needs to come and flow in my life for my highest good, but for everybody else's highest good. I don't want to take something that's
Yeah.
going to hurt somebody else. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I want this, but it's going to affect somebody else.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Everything is for the highest good of all. Right. So with that whole thing said, hasn't really not a lot to do with the breakups thing, but what it really means is the words that you say to yourself is for your highest good. So you know that the universe doesn't ever manifest anything for your life if it's not for your highest good. So
Yeah.
even though it might be hard for you to see that it seems like it's not because it's detrimentally awful. But just knowing that, again, like in the future, you'll see that actually that was for your highest good, and you'll have
Yeah.
a better, more of a higher purpose moving forward. Because sometimes relationships, friendships, whatever it may be, could be holding you back in certain things. Because sometimes some people just take a lot of drain, like they drain you, and you
Yeah.
feel like you're constantly being pushed in their little bubble, in their little world, and you're kind of blinded by your own world, and you can't progress forward in your own life because you're being sucked by their stuff because you're like their kind of crutch.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not for your highest good. So
Yeah.
sometimes the
But
Band-Aid
also, it's like you're not
needs to
even
be stripped
aware of it,
off.
right? Like in the moment.
What's that?
Like you're not even aware of that in the moment.
No, you're not. You're
Yeah.
totally blinded by it because you're in it.
Yeah. I did a podcast about friendship breakups with one of my friends, and it was like a 2-piece series.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that we mentioned where it's like in the moment, it's like you're not even aware of it. And my friend asked a really good question because she was like, oh, in those friendships, she was like, are you the one that wants to feel wanted, or do you need to have somebody like, or are you wanting somebody as a crutch? Right. So
Right.
it's kind of like, are you using somebody, or are you the one being used as a crutch? And
Mm-hmm.
it's a really good question because it's like one way or the other, like either way, it's draining, but it's like, how do you become aware of it when you're in it? Right. And
Mm-hmm.
we were talking about like exactly what you were saying, like being present and being aware of it's making you feel inside. Or
Yeah.
if it is draining, like start to set boundaries. Like actually,
Yeah.
like I can only hang out X amount of hours or be on the phone for X amount of minutes.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And we are all ever evolving, all of us. All of us
Yeah.
spiritual people. We're all spiritual people. We're
Mhm.
all spirit
Yep.
living a human experience. But we are all evolving and learning self-love and learning how
Yeah.
to be okay on your own. Like you said, you have to learn to be okay on your own.
Yeah.
It's so important. So then you can be able to stand on your own 2 feet. And then when people do come in your life, you can be a little bit more picky on who you want to allow in your bubble.
Mindful. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's
exactly.
true, right? It's like, I know some of the things that I've learned is one of the things that I want now in friendships, because I think I've become like more mindful, um, is like people who aren't afraid to speak up, even when it comes to like their feelings or emotions.
Hmm.
And of course that's what I wanted of myself, so I want it out of people.
Hmm.
And it's like the people that are gonna be able to express, oh yeah, like I'm upset at you right now, or like I'm feeling like having that capability of communication and us being able to have like a conversation around it and then just let it go.
Hmm.
Like cool, like okay, there's no passive aggressiveness, there's no judgment, there's no pointing fingers of like, no, but you're the one doing this wrong, right? Like there's no you statement, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's coming around.
Right, right. I've also learned too in my spiritual journeys, and everybody believes their own things. This is just me personally, what I believe. Um, Vibration, right? We all have our own we all vibrate on certain frequencies, and sometimes when you come across somebody and you're just not really, or like you could be connecting with somebody like really well, and then eventually, right, as we're ever evolving, we're always growing,
uh,
you might end up realizing you're not really vibrating on the same frequency anymore.
Yeah.
And that's okay because their
Yeah.
spiritual path is their way. It's
Mm-hmm.
not a wrong way. It's just their path. It's where they're supposed to go in their life. And mine is my way, and it's my own individual unique way. And we may have vibrated on the same frequency at one point, but then now we're not vibrating on the same
Yeah.
frequency. It's like we just grew apart. People say that. Oh,
Yeah.
we just grew apart. Yes. I say, oh, our vibrations are not on the same level
Yeah.
of
No, that's
frequency.
true. Yeah. That's true.
So yeah, thinking it like that, just growing apart, and but being allowed to the pain that you have is good to have, because it's allowing you to be able to like look inside yourself and go, how can this pain help me and the areas that I need to work on, right? Because
Yeah.
sometimes there's some things I need to work on. I think we talked about this earlier, is like my trying not to be so uh what was I being stubborn in some way, right? So, but a lot of that has to do with the pain that you feel. It's the mirror that you're seeing yourself at. Like, why am I hurting right now? Like,
Yeah.
what's bothering me so much? Well, whatever you think that they're doing, you could be doing the same thing. So it's just kind of like just figuring all that out and knowing that we're all kind of figuring it out all at the same time, but saying it's okay to not be on the same frequency, because it
Yeah.
just means we're evolving. And sometimes you evolve together, and sometimes you
You
kind of
don't.
go on your own,
Yeah.
you
And
know?
I feel like that's totally okay, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
because then you're going to meet people that are going to vibrate on your frequency later, or,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I hope that the things that you've been through though with your friend, I know that it bothers you still. Is there anything that what specifically have you done to help you with that?
I don't like, I think it definitely doesn't bother me as much.
Hmm.
Earlier this week, my partner and I were painting, right?
Hmm.
Like one of his rooms, and she just popped up, and I thought it was interesting because what popped up was one of those conversations that we've had where it's like, oh, we're gonna be friends forever, and now we're not, right?
Yeah.
And I was painting, and it was so interesting because I was like, why is that thought popping up? Like, I'm not like actively thinking about her, right? But it's just
Right.
popping up for a second, and then I started dreaming about her.
Hmm.
So I think I don't know, like I don't know if there's maybe still on process like grief, right? To
Hmm.
to work through, or because it was a really beautiful friendship. So it yeah, like that's the thing that pops up. But what have I been doing? So I know when we first went our separate ways, and the only time, right? I was trying to be really mindful when not numbing my feelings.
Yeah.
So a new friend had popped up in my circle at the same time. And I remember telling her, like, hey, I'm gonna be mindful when I hang out with you because I'm going through this breakup and I wanna really feel my emotions.
Yeah.
And I cried a lot. So I remember going on a trip with one of my other friends, and on this trip it was like the first time that I had traveled with another friend. And again, it feels like a freaking breakup with a boyfriend.
Yeah.
Like with this friend, my sister friend, whatever, like we had traveled the world together. And this is the
Oh
first
my
time
gosh.
the so I went on another trip with another friend, and it was like, oh my god, like I remember the times we traveled the world together. And I think there was like maybe 2 or 3 nights where my friend went to bed and I was in the living room and I was just crying. Like, I miss
Um,
her and I'm gonna let myself cry and it's okay. And I remember texting my boyfriend, like, I don't know what to do with these feelings right now. Like, I'm with this other friend and she's so sweet. She's giving me space. She's trying to talk to me through it, but I also want to be present. And it was sweet because my boyfriend ended up texting, like, okay, yes, like, you've had your time to cry about it. But he was like, but now you have a friend that's traveling the world with you. Like, I would say go take advantage of that. Like, go and sleep in the same room. Like, go and hang out
create
with
new
her.
memories.
Yeah, exactly. So it was like a really good, like, shift.
Yeah.
Right. But a lot of it has been really just feeling my feelings with it and talking
Yeah.
about it in therapy.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Like processing all of that stuff in therapy because there's a lot to it too.
So I just pulled a card right now, like right as you
Yeah.
were talking. And I got the 8 of Wands. So,
Ooh.
yeah, so the 8 is like continuous. It's like the infinity circle or the infinity sign. So it's
Okay.
like continuous flow. And then the wands is action. And so it's moving forward and forward action. So it's continuously moving forward. So exactly like it's so crazy that you said as you were talking, I'm shuffling the cards over here, like,
That's
and I
awesome.
pulled this card and it's telling me kind of similar what you just said. You're sitting in the hotel. Were you in a hotel room?
No, it was my boyfriend's dad's house.
Oh, when
Or
you okay. No, you said when you were with your friend and you were crying and he
oh
was like,
yeah, Airbnb. Yeah.
okay, whatever. You were at a hotel. You were with your friend traveling the world, a new friend, and you were sad because you've lost a friendship with another friend, right?
Mm-hmm.
And your
Yeah.
boyfriend was telling you, well, you're with somebody who wants to be with you and travel the world with you, like create new memories, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's the action of just continuously moving forward because your life is going to keep going. And you're now with somebody that is on your wavelength, on your frequency now. You didn't lose somebody. You've actually gained somebody that is now going to kind of take the reins or like like here I'm gonna
Yeah.
keep and then you're gonna keep on flowing forward. You're not stopping. It's not like you lost a friend and you're never traveling again.
Oh
You
yeah, that's so true.
gained another friend that is more in alignment of where you are, right? And you
Yeah.
just gotta move forward, keep forward action, don't stop and spiral, flow in an
Yeah.
infinity of continuous movement, right?
I
Keep
like
on
that. Move
flowing.
into flow
Yes.
with you. I
Move
totally like
into
that.
flow with you. Yes.
That's awesome. I
So
like
that's
that.
a perfect card to pull with your story.
Thank you.
So that's like with the friendship and losing your friends. You're not losing friends. You're continuously going to be moving forward in life with other people that are in more alignment with you. It's
Yeah.
hard to see it in that moment because you're in it,
Yeah.
but you
And it's
learn from it
true,
a
right?
lot of things about yourself and other people, and then
Yeah.
you're more able to pick better,
And it's true because it's like I see it happening now, right?
yeah,
Or like I'm making
exactly.
these new friends and it's like how awesome and how sweet is this?
Yeah.
Right? Like super sweet. Like I feel the sweetness of it.
And your new friend, she was able to understand because she knows what you were going through. And so she's probably like, hey, let's go do this. Let's go do this. Like trying to make
Yeah.
you happy. So she's learning
Yeah.
about you, you're learning about her. You guys, you're bonding in a different way. So yeah, it's just continuous flow and forward movement and growing and learning about you and not being stubborn because that's what
I
I
know,
do.
right?
Like, oh my God, what the hell? What did they do? No, it's me too.
Yeah. The mirror, right? Like the reflection of it.
Yeah.
Thank you for the
So,
card reading.
oh yeah, no, for sure. I always have my cards with me, so I just felt like that was a great time to pull it. So that was a perfect card.
Oh
I
yeah.
was actually
It
thinking, I'm like, oh, this other card would be great to pull, and it was
was.
it was
The
the
universe is
eight
like,
of wands, and
actually,
I'm like, wait, that actually is better than the one I was thinking. So yeah.
the
forward
universe,
forward
right?
movement, forward action, forward moving free action movement.
Yes, I like
So
it. Lucinda said, "Infinity symbology. What comes around goes around. Patterns repeat. Evolution is in change." Hmm.
where is this at?
In the chats.
Yeah, mine's not working.
Okay, that's all we
Mine's
got though.
sorry, Lucinda. I can't see anything on my side. I couldn't even log in. It just allowed me to log in. So,
Yeah.
oh, here it is. Oh, it just popped up. Okay, friendship breakup, spiritual growth. It will be in our subject today, please. Oh, that's the same thing as
Subject.
before. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I don't have anything on my comments thing. Do you have anything on
Okay.
your comments?
Yeah, just what you said. The infinity
Yeah,
symbology.
nothing's on my side. So you're gonna have to be me or
Yeah.
you do for me, and So, okay, well, I think that was a really good talk. I think we're at the end of
Yeah.
our
If you guys have
live
any questions,
stream.
feel free
Yeah,
to reach out. Right? And we'll be here not next Tuesday, but the third Tuesday of the month.
yeah, the first and third Tuesday of the month.
Yes.
Yes.
Sweet. Okay.
Okay.
It was so nice to see you, Sarah.
Yeah, you too. You look beautiful as
Thank
always.
you. Likewise.